Welcome. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Esteban Hour. How you doing? I am your host, Esteban. How was your week this week? I hope everybody had a great week as we're going into the weekend. And you know what I say? If you woke up today, today's a great day. All right. On the docket today is part two on hardships in Africa. If you've seen our last episode, we started to bring out some of the hardships that the uh, Africans are going through, and we highlighted what they are and how long they've been going for decades and decades. We also talked about some of the reasons why many African countries are still experiencing poverty and death and famine and disease and all kinds of things that you would think, you know, decades later, that there would be an end to them or there would be some type of improvement. Um, but I would think if I'm speaking to an African, they would definitely say there's been no improvement. And so here at the Esteban Hour, we've decided we're going to um, assist in the support of bringing out some of these hardships to get some of our own friends, neighbors, families just thinking about what Africans go through on a daily basis. Um, higher, farther, more than what we can ever imagine. We know that Africa is a rich country. Um, no matter what their people are going through, Africa is a very rich country. They have a rich cultural heritage. There are rich and poor Africans that are living in Africa, but where is the equality? Why are still so many at the bottom? And what are those at the top doing? How why are they not concerned or care for those that are still at the bottom? At least that's how it looks like on the outside, on all of us who are, from the West. That's how it looks to us. That why are there those governments not helping their own people? We know that there are diverse nations in Africa, different religions, different points of view, different rules and regulations. Some don't agree with the LGBTQ plus community. Um, some there's a greatness of terrorism, homegrown terrorism going in there. But what we do know is just about every African country experiences some form of poverty. Okay, a group of people that are poor, just poor, 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 and are struggling, fighting, crying just to eat, just to get some uh, good, healthy water, just to be left alone. For them to raise their families and be with their families. Um, Many of the African countries are going through the same thing. Diseases is prevalent in Africa, everywhere in Africa. And we're going to touch a little bit about those diseases. Malaria, okay, is one of the top diseases in Africa. Um, Diarrheal disease is another top disease. Diabetes, okay, all of these things are going on, and we just like to uh, bring a closer focus to perhaps what's going on there, what we can do about it. It's not just about money, it's not just about prayer, it's a little bit of everything. But before we go into that topic, help me welcome back to the show one of our guests from the Lana Quest show, Miss Lana Quest. Let's bring.
Hey. Hi.
Are you?
I'm good. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you
Okay,
perfectly.
perfect.
Thank you
Yay.
for joining us. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me. What a great introduction.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you look absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my Dinah Ross Shaka Khan mix.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So you were listening and heard a little bit of what Africans are experiencing still in their home countries today. What do you think?
Wow. Like I was listening to you and just learning so much, but it is sad, and there's so many levels to it, it seems, right?
Yeah.
So I guess we can go to your first thing about the hunger and the malnutrition. And a lot of that people don't even know is caused by climate change. As simple
That's
as,
true.
yeah, because they have their weather extremes. It's like they're either extreme drought,
Yes.
and so they have no crops, or they're extreme floods where they have no crops.
Right, right. I'd be in awe, because I have a lot of friends in
Mhm,
Africa that I speak to. I keep in touch with them, and they constantly keep me updated
mhm,
with the things going on. I've got friends in different parts, different countries of Africa. So when it comes to that element of it, I had a friend who recently said to me, he always asks me, how's the temperature over there? How's the weather? And I'd be like, dude, why? It's
right.
fine. I mean, so, but I realized after a while of him asking me that over and over again, is because they are used to extreme weather, extreme
Right.
heat and
Right.
extreme cold
Right.
during the day. It is ridiculously hot, and then in the night they're freezing,
Right.
and this is every day.
Right.
I think it's all year round. I'm not sure, but I speak to them regularly, and I've been
Mhm.
hearing the same thing. And
Right.
I asked him one time, "Do you have blankets? And what do you have?" And he told me, "No, I have a little jacket or a coat, and I wrap into it, and that's how I sleep at night." And I sent him and his roommates a couple of blankets.
Right.
I was like, wow, um, do you really? No one has blankets? And sometimes I have to um take a step back and keep my gesturing to myself, so as not to sound rude or ignorant, so to speak. But it's just that I don't know what's going on there. And because we're in America, which is the quote unquote richest country in the world, it's almost hard to comprehend that.
Right.
But when they say it, believe it. And I
Right.
did. So I sent them, and they were on cloud nine when they
Right.
received it. They were on cloud nine. And it again brought me to a place where um the humility that they have to have, because they don't have much, and they
Right.
have to make do with what they do have, with the bare essentials.
Right. Right. People don't know that over half of the continent of Africa has no electricity.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. I'm glad you brought that up, because constantly they're telling me lights are out. I'm
Yeah.
in the dark. Well, what are you doing? Well, I can't really do much, and because there's no light. I mean, multiple times a week
Right.
there's no light. And so us as Americans, is that something that we can comprehend? I mean, our lights go
Maybe
off.
in Texas. No, I'm
It,
just kidding. Greg Abbott.
that's a good point too. That's a very good point. That's true. Um, but others, like in New York,
Right.
Florida,
Right.
California.
Right.
We don't know what that is.
No.
Okay,
Unless we
one
don't pay the bill.
except for that, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Why you keep bringing out these? No, but we and we don't go through
Right.
issues like that. Okay, we don't have any light. We're calling up the electricity company immediately. Okay, and we're cursing out whoever is not doing
Right.
their job. It's not manning the stations.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, and they don't have those liberties. Light goes out,
Right.
and they have to wait
Yeah.
until light goes up, comes back on. And
Right.
sometimes it comes back on in an hour. Sometimes it comes back on in a day, 2 days.
Right. Right. No infrastructure, right? Like there's no infrastructure depending on what country you live in. Like you said, a lot of those countries there is still like living in poverty. But then there are a lot of successful, rich countries in Africa. Like
Yes,
it's kind of crazy.
it is very crazy. So the question is, why? I,
Right.
you know, I I understand the point of capitalism,
Right.
right? I understand the point of having your business and working hard for what you have. I don't understand why it's okay for you to have $10 million in your bank account and the other person can't even pay 50 cents to buy a vegetable. I don't understand that.
Right.
So by giving them a little bit of money to at least to be able to eat and drink and go to school, how is that going to put you as a millionaire into the poorhouse? I
Right.
don't understand. I
Yeah.
don't
Well, we're
understand.
talking about countries too, right? So, like, if Nigeria does well, Egypt does well, Ethiopia, like those countries are rich countries. But then if you're talking about Sudan or Mozambique, and those are like the poor countries, like, how did that happen? How did like the continent of Africa end up with so many poor countries in it?
And we're gonna talk about right now um the that Africa as a whole is a rich country. I,
Right.
I think it's even richer than the United States, is
The
it?
natural resources,
The natural
anyway. Right.
resources.
Right.
So what I don't know.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't know.
we kind of do know. Well, there's like a couple of things, right? It's like colonization.
Yeah, yeah,
that that didn't help. You have Westerners coming in and stealing the natural resources, and then you end up with Africans fighting each other because they're all poor, but they're trying to make money, and the colonizers are going to pay them,
yeah,
for their natural resources. So now we're cutting off the arms and stuff of
yeah.
children and just all of the nonsense. So
And to see them throw their own people to the bus under the bus
right,
is mind-boggling.
yeah,
But I guess when you're trying to survive,
right, exactly, exactly.
let's get into this little clip that we have here that actually hinges on the subject of survival, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Okay.
Ali Bala lives in Niger, West Africa, one of the poorest countries in the world. His son, Mustafa, is 9 years old. When it's hot, he loves to swim in the local lake, but it's swarming with parasites. Ali knows how vulnerable his son is. People in Niger have to battle against a number of diseases, common diseases that persist in the poorest communities, but have been eliminated and forgotten in wealthier places.
Il y a les maladies, il y a la mort, la sous-alimentation, surtout en campagne. La population souffre beaucoup.
What say you?
It's just sad, right? Like, oh my gosh. I'm just looking like, what are you gonna do? Like the kid, I just looking like he's gonna get it in his mouth. And as a parent, you're like, no, don't drink that water, don't put
Oh,
that water in your mouth,
right.
right? But
Did you see his face? He's just sitting to the side. He's probably thinking in his head, "Oh my
yeah,
God, you know, my son could die from this. He might get sick. What's going to happen?" But he loves to swim.
and it's probably 1,000 degrees, so he's trying to cool off, and it's not like they said it's the poorest country. Is that where he's at? The poorest country? Where was that? West
Um,
Africa?
that is part of West Africa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure if it's the poorest. I think they would all fight with each other as who's the poorest
That,
country.
no, you know what? You're absolutely right. But like,
But it's
they're
definitely one of them.
yeah, they're in the same water where the animals, their livestock and stuff, it's probably getting cool too. So that's where the parasites are coming from. But that's how they have to live. It's not like there's a pool
Right.
somewhere. And it's such a, oh my God, it sucks so bad because there's so much. It's hard for, not that America would do so much helping, but I know that the problem lies with even like the medication. Like he doesn't want his son to get sick because, like you were saying, like that's a part of it, like diabetes and all those other things. It's like us trying to send medication there, you have to make sure it gets into the right hands, because if you get it into some warlord's hands, all they're going to do is take that medication and sell it on the black market or something, and it never gets to the people. Like
And
that's
keep a little bit for themselves and their family members.
right, exactly. And that's a big part of their problem too, I'm sure,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
I was told that unless you are part of the government or a family member of the government, there are really no real opportunities for you to make it out of poverty,
Right, right,
which is it's just sad within itself.
right.
And another reason why I wanted to call attention from the Esteban Hour to this, because what is our government doing to curb that? You know, with all of the policing that they're doing here or trying to do here with
Yeah.
our tax-paying money, is there any policing that they do to the funds that they send to these countries to support them?
Yeah.
The West does send a lot of money to support a lot of these African countries, but it's not getting trickled down to where the need is great.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
being kept, swallowed, and reserved only around amongst the elite and the top level people who really don't need it.
Right. 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 Like I don't even know how you fix it. Right?
Right.
Kamala went to Ghana. Like I know that, you know, finally they understand that, Africa is a place that we need to start building relationships with. So that's why Kamala went in March.
Nice.
I guess it's a start. I don't know what it's going to do, but I know that that is why they sent her to start building. She went to Ghana. I mean,
Okay.
Ghana does well, I think, right? Like, I don't think Ghana is one of those suffering countries like that either. But I know she went because, the unemployment, they have an unemployment problem, they have inflation problems, like they have all those problems. So that is why they did send her. But I haven't heard much about it. Um,
Well, I try to remain optimistic on all things. So
yeah. Yeah.
hopefully time will tell if anything came out of that trip. And hopefully that's not her last trip,
Exactly.
or
Right.
anyone from the White House administration, that more and more folks visit different countries
Right.
in Africa. If anything, it stands to be an encouragement to them, that they're having, that they're being represented or thought of by Western countries such as the United States. And it'll also show our own elite that maybe they could, chime in too, along with the government leaders and
Right.
do a little something.
Right. Hope so.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, so let's go into our next clip. Um, this is about the dangerous work that goes on in some of these countries. This clip focuses on the country of the Democratic Republic of Congo,
Okay.
the mining that they do, and that's how they survive. But it's very dangerous, this mining that they do, and many of them die every year.
The Democratic Republic of Congo, or the DRC, is sitting on nearly 20 trillion pounds of natural resources.
Wow.
It should be one of the richest countries in the world. Instead, most people here live on less than £1.50 a day. Bagged up and ready to sell, 70% of the world's cobalt comes from the DRC. It's a critical component in batteries for electric cars. But helping rich countries hit their environmental targets comes at a cost to the people who mine it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Nah, it's not. No, you go ahead. It just make me tired. I'm like, wow.
You can't help but to your heart just drops over and over and over again. So now these people are doing this dangerous work for survival. In a country that, as you saw, has so much natural resources that is that could be economically a beneficial
Right.
to them.
Yeah.
But somehow, somewhere in between that, it's not reaching the needy. It's not reaching the people that desperately need it. And again, that is my question. Why not?
It sounds
Why
like the
not?
Congo government, right? Like,
Yeah,
because China just can't come in here and be like, I need you guys to mine this. It's got to be the government. The government's got to be getting money from this and allowing China to buy this.
for sure, for sure. But I wouldn't say China is scot free on it.
Oh,
Uh,
no.
I
Oh,
would say that there might be
absolutely.
some implications put on them, or some ultimatums, so to speak, of doing things the way that China wants them to do it, and the things that they have to go through to make it happen. And so in turn they might say, well, we did all of this to make it happen. We're gonna keep this.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah.
but the people, no
Right.
matter what, no matter who's right or wrong, the people.
They don't even give them a slave labor. Like, it's just so insane. Like, they're not even getting, we complain here in America about minimum wage, and
Ah,
these people
ah,
making, but they're barely making $1 a week. Like, what? For back-breaking work.
yes, yes. Again, I've got friends in Africa, and they talk to me all the time about what they go through. It is amazing to hear that they just came in from a hard day's work, like 10, 12 hours in the blazing heat, um, putting, doing cement work, brick work, building homes and villages for the owners, and they come home with like $400 of their money. One particular country, the Gambia, that I have a friend in, and that's what he has said to me. Oh, I said, how much did you make? $400. Forgot what it's called, um, in Gambia, but $400 of their money. I went into my currency thing and did a swap.
Mhm,
You know, what was that in U.S.
mhm.
money? It was like $2.
I thought you were gonna tell me like 60.
No, it was like $2.
Well, that means that Gambian money ain't worth nothing. It's just
True, but they're not the only ones. They're
right,
not the only ones. There are many other countries, where it's the same. And if their money is worth more against the dollar, they're getting paid more, but it still comes out to be nothing.
right,
So they might get paid $20 US money, but would would you build bricks for
right,
10 hours for
right,
$20?
right,
No.
right.
So it's still bad, but this is what they are forced to do for survival.
Yeah, it's no
They-
trickle down there.
right? There's no other way of means there, so they have to do that. And so it comes to you, you kind of understand more why so many of them are just fighting to get into the United States,
Right,
or Britain, or France, or
right,
Italy. Why they're fighting? Because they know that over here it's a far better quality of life. They're not getting paid $2 a day, not
right,
an hour, a
right.
day.
Well, that's interesting. Do you think that do they go to like so South Africa does well. So do you think someone from say Sudan would they go to South Africa? You know what I mean? I mean or Nigeria? Like do they do that kind of thing or do they just come straight to
Well, first
America?
of all, when you say Nigeria, I will say hell no. Okay. I
Well,
think
they
the
said that's one of the richest countries in Africa. That Nigeria tops on the list.
yes, it does. But I also hear it's also one of the most horrible
Oh.
countries there when it comes
Mm,
to economics and their
mm.
people. Since you mentioned that really quick before
Oh.
I answer
Mm,
the rest of your question,
mhm.
Nigeria, if you remember, is the African country a couple of months ago that were going through a bank situation. They
Mm,
closed down all their banks. People were not able to get their money.
right.
I had a friend who was sending me messages and videos at that time, and updating me on how it was. They were having um, um, curfews, they still do now. Every Monday, nobody can leave their house. They have to stay home. No, in Nigeria, every Monday, nobody can leave their house. So
Hmm.
on Monday, my friend calls me, to chat. How you doing? And I'm like, so what are you doing? He hates when I ask that question. He's like, it's Monday.
What you think I'm doing?
What you think I'm
Sitting
doing?
sitting here in the dark.
Right. And then add to
Curfew.
that sometimes in the dark. But
Right.
yes, and then after they did open up their banks, they prevented people from getting denominations less than $100 out of the bank, their own money. So if somebody only had $40 left to their name, they couldn't get it because the bank was only giving out denominations of $100 and higher. It was bad. Another friend I helped out, he had gone like a week without eating because he normally goes to the bank every 2 weeks or so and takes out $20, $30, whatever their money, and they were not allowing him to take his money out. So I think he had like $40 or something, and I sent him $60
Oh.
to complete $100,
Mhm.
and he was able to take it out. And then when he took it out, he made sure that that $100 stretched, right?
Right,
Out for
right.
the next month or two or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But just the fact that he couldn't go and get his own money. After all, he's already slave driving for it, and now he can't get it. It was a saddening factor, and that is due to their government.
Yeah. Let's always do the government because I mean, I know we're talking about Africa, but as we're talking about the continent of Africa, I can't help but see the similarities
Yeah, right.
to America, not on that grand a level, but there's people in Mississippi without indoor toilets. There's people in Alabama that have outhouses that are backing up. Like this is
Right. There's people that have no light.
yeah, yeah,
There's people that are hungry,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, the homeless situation in America is increasing. It's not
Skid
decreasing.
Row. Look at Skid Row. You would think that that was a third world country.
Right. And I guess it's even more sad for a country like ours because the money
Right,
is there. The
right,
money is definitely there.
right, right,
Okay. So you ask yourself in the quote unquote richest country of the world, why are there people homeless? Why are there people still suffering from hunger?
right,
Why are there people dying from disease because they can't afford
right,
health care?
right.
That's going to be a future topic, by the way, because it's true. It's true. We're focusing on Africa because they
Of course,
really need our support.
of
But
course.
it's true. Sometimes we've got to look in our own backyard and ask ourselves, what the hell? Why
Right.
is this happening?
Exactly. Because you're saying this stuff, and I'm just like, I can name places here that suffer like that. Even our southern states, their minimum wages. What are they getting? People still getting paid $4, $5 an hour at
Yeah.
McDonald's. Like, what is that?
And some from a particular party are fighting to keep it that way.
It's
It's
unbelievable. It's just,
unbelievable.
it's like,
Unfreaking believable.
how
Yeah.
do you live off of that? But
They don't care
they don't
how they live off of
I
it.
know we've moved from Africa. I'm sorry. I just kind of like, wow. We have no room to talk about no one. We just don't. Like, who the hell are we? Like, America has lost its footing. We've lost our way. Slowly we're trying to get it back. We have different people in office, but we really have a lot of work to do.
We do. But we still can't forget our
No,
people, our friends, our comrades,
absolutely.
who are far lower than we are.
Yeah.
So at best, I say to our audience, if you can multitask, please do so. Okay, fight our government on what they're doing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also put your 2 cents into the African governments for the way that they treat their people as well.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right. Right. Throw out Haiti too. The way they treat their people.
Right. But I will tell you, you made a good point. The United States, we're not perfect. We're not angels in no way. And there are a lot of things, a lot of circumstances here that are getting worse instead of getting better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that will be a future topic of discussion because it is one that needs to be had, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So next to talk about, next issue. This is problem night, Lana.
Let's go. Bring the problem. Bring it on. I'll be Dear Abby.
Love it. I love Dear Abby. Okay.
All the young folks are like,
Who? And that's when you tell them, shut up.
That's funny.
All right. So Africa, the continent of Africa also has a problem with no clean water. Let's play this clip and we'll discuss it on the other side.
Water affects much more than hydration. The UN says without clean water, not only are a child's health and nutrition at risk, their education and safety are as well. It's the tragic reality for roughly 190 million children right now in sub-Saharan Africa.
This is a crisis that hits the whole world indeed, but I mean more so in Africa.
Ruben Bahia is UNICEF's regional advisor of water, sanitation, and hygiene, or WASH, for
You see
West
that
and
dirty
Central
water?
Africa. In a recent report, UNICEF found that these 10 countries are considered some of the most water insecure places on Earth.
Those countries are facing multiple priorities. We're talking about water supply here, but I mean, they also have priorities in terms of health. You have priorities in terms of education, in terms of livelihood of the people living there. So sometimes you have then these competing priorities in a fragile situation. Doesn't really help these sectors.
And it's where millions of children are facing a deadly triple threat of water-related crises: climate risks, sanitation, and related diseases.
Another wow factor.
Yeah, right. Why can't we send water to these people? Like I'm just like, we got water. Well, you know what? Oh, damn it, America. Damn it.
I'm gonna say two things. First of all, I believe that they have enough water of their own. Okay.
Mm,
But because the economic situation is so bad, they have no choice but to sell it.
yeah.
Okay. And now they want to sell it to the people that can't afford it.
Right.
That's when it becomes a problem. Because they're taking profit over humanity. Okay. You need water to live. You need food to live. Okay, if you've got to sell it to make a profit because you need to live as well, I understand that. But then when it comes to a point that you see people are dying over it, what's up? What's up? What's up? Can you sell a gallon and then give away a gallon?
Right.
Can you I mean,
right.
Sure, I don't know.
Right. Like,
there's got to be options. There's got to be. Why do they continue to act like there are no options? It's do or die. You have to pay for the water or die. Why?
right.
And then, as you said, okay, and if that is the case, why can't richer nations send them water?
Because
And then,
do they take it and sell it? Like, again, because you just said that, right? So if that happened, then that may again get into the wrong hands, and that continues to be the problem.
so the rich people will have even more water,
Right.
because they won't send it to the impoverished. It's beyond logic. It's beyond logic as to why these people can't seem to get out of this disease and death and no money, no education, no nothing. It's heartbreaking. That's all I got to say about it. It is heartbreaking. People are dying over not having any water, drinking bad water.
How are those smaller countries run? Do they have like a prime minister or president or like?
Yes. But they'll tell you that they're doing all that they can do. They'll tell you that their money and resources are stretched to its limits. They'll tell you
they're not doing anything. Was not like they don't have a transit system. They don't have infrastructure.
Which is why I'm like, why isn't there some kind of a United Nations team or force that oversees these things? But as I'm talking it out, you know why these African governments will not allow someone else to come and take control,
Right.
even if it means doing best by their
Right.
people,
Right.
because it takes away a sense of power from
Right.
them.
Right. Right.
And who ends up paying for it?
The people. Yeah.
The people.
Yeah.
Okay, so as it mentioned in the video, 190 million children are at risk of water-related crises every year. So that means a portion of that number of children are dying just because of either no water or drinking bad water.
Really?
After all these decades and decades and decades of going through the same thing, does that not touch anybody's heart?
I mean, we talking about in Africa, we talking about in America. Again,
Both.
we know how they feel about the kids here. They watching them getting mowed down and shot to pieces here, and they don't care. So what do they care about a little African on a UNICEF commercial saying that they hungry? They looking at that like
that's not my business.
Right, exactly.
Yes, and it's sad.
Yeah.
It's absolutely sad, but you're right. And now going back to our country, the United States, there's areas here that don't have water too. What about Flint, right? You can't even imagine when I first heard that story. What the hell do you mean they don't have no water?
Yeah.
And then when you hear, well, it's a black community.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Right. Remember Jackson too? Jackson, Mississippi.
Yes. I mean, it's the 21st century. It's the 21st century. We are a rich country. What in the hell do you mean they don't have clean water?
Right. It's disgusting. Like, so disgusting.
It's bad. And we one of the resources we missed in talking about what America doesn't have: internet. In the modern age where everything is run by the internet, how you telling me that there's still counties and communities that don't have no internet?
Right.
What?
No broadband. How is that a thing? But we know what counties those are. The places where they think that those places are the best. Like, well, Chicago got broadband. I don't know about you. Baltimore got broadband. I don't know what you're doing down in Lowndes County, Alabama.
Hey, I'm telling you, right? But it's just to show, again, number one, I guess it doesn't matter whether your country is rich or poor. There's always going to be problems, inequities, situations, and that's understandable. My thing is that why do not people ever learn from anything? Why do they not learn from past mistakes? Why do they not try to attempt to change, to do something better, even if they fail? But at least show in a public manner that you're trying to give a damn about the less fortunate.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Oh my. Okay, all right. So any last thoughts on no water?
Oh no, that water was brown, man.
Was it brown? Yes. And it just makes you sad, because as dirty as that water looked, they were happy with it.
They were happy that something came out, right? Yeah. Us, we're like, ugh, we'll throw away warm water
in a heartbeat. That's been sitting there for too long. Well, it's been sitting there for an hour or two.
Yep, just throw it away. Yep.
Many of them would come in here and take it all. Yep. I don't care if it's been sitting there for 2 days. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Because 2 days or not, we know there's no parasites in there. It's not funny.
No, but it's true.
but 2 days and out, we know that there's nothing in there. So the worst off is you're gonna be drinking some hot ass water.
I have nasty tap water, and we complain about tap water.
And we complain about tap water. I'm not even gonna say what I haven't drunk tap water in like 15 years. There's stay bottled water in my refrigerator morning, noon, and night.
All right, now unless there's some type of filter situation, like at work, we got a filter water thing, so drink that. But straight out the tap, not in this town. Oh, heck no.
For sure. Because again, nothing is like it used to be. You can't really trust much anymore, right? Whether it's a rich country or a poor country, you can't really you can't trust your government officials. I mean, look what happened with that train that released all those toxins and stuff. Those people are still going through nonsense today and can't live in their homes. Because of the toxins in the air. And what's the government doing? Telling everybody that, no, don't worry about it. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
No, the hell it's not.
No, the hell of that. I bet Joseph Biden, Obama, Jill, whatever, none of them are trying to be having no lunch with nobody in their house.
Hello. Neither are they trying to go visit over there to go to McDonald's in that neighborhood either.
Because I ain't. So we know it ain't all that good. And the unfortunate thing is we'll never know until come a decade.
Yeah. And
the decade.
That's sad.
And kids gonna be having babies that got 3 fingers and that 6 fingers is something crazy. Like for real. Like I'm joking, but not joking, because we know that's what's gonna happen.
Right. Because that's what those toxins that nobody knows anything about.
Right.
That is what they're going to do. It doesn't belong in the body. Doesn't belong touching the body. It's breathing into the body. And so what's going to happen? You're going to have human concoctions and what do you call it when you go into a lab the word escapes me at the moment, but that's exactly what will happen, and it's sad. I mean, as a matter of fact, we have 9/11 as a prime example.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone rushed there. Yeah. Everyone helped, and everyone felt good and proud and happy. Yeah. And 5 years later, people started dying.
Black lung disease and everything else. Yep. You're absolutely right. Yeah, because that's exactly what happens.
And then what do? They just feed you money. Here's money. Take money, but your life is already destroyed.
You can't take that to the grave.
No. How much money can you pay to recover a life?
Right.
And that goes for us and Africans.
Yeah.
Okay, that dirty water that we saw those boys picking up, why is that okay to their government? Why is that okay? Is there nothing that's off the table that to say no, we will not allow? Is there anything?
No.
And then we have terrorists. So on top of hunger, no money, disease, terrorists.
Yep.
Let's look at this next clip and we'll talk about it on the other side.
I can't think of another situation in the world where tens of thousands of people are forced to live in a camp like this, where there's no security, obviously no medical care, the kids can't go to school, and yet their homes are just 2-3 kilometers away. And this is one of several areas where no one really controls it. I think because of that, no one feels safe enough to return home yet. And there's just no one.
The conflict here began between rebels called the Seleka from the country's oppressed Muslim minority and Christian anti-Balaka forces. But they splintered, and now at least 14 different armed groups control over 75% of the country and fight over resources and territory as much as religion. The resource they fight for most is a surprising one: not gold, coltan, or diamonds, but beef, which once made up over 15% of GDP here.
Wow.
Wow. Did you notice he said they're not fighting over gold, they're not fighting over diamonds, beef. Beef. Now you and we're not fighting over no damn beef, right?
I sure ain't. I'm like, ugh.
Give me the gold and the diamonds. I'll be okay with that. Okay. I'll go hungry for a couple of days as long as I come back with some gold and diamonds.
Well, you know, and I guess in a nation that's hungry,
Yeah.
they want the beef.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my.
Which again is another saddening factor, that the most expensive resources they don't even care about.
Right.
It's the food.
Yeah.
It's the food that they want, that they need. And you've got homegrown terrorists or rebels that are abusing and killing their own people to get these things.
Yeah.
And it's sad. Again, a friend of mine that I interviewed in the first part of Hardships in Africa, one of the things that he said was the governments don't have enough military to prevent these rebels or terrorists from terrorizing the villages and their own people, and that's one of the main issues or main problems. They don't have enough people,
right,
to secure all of the villages and stuff, and to stop those things from
right,
happening.
right.
And that's what in turn causes or as a result of these rebels increasing and increasing and increasing. In fact, it was said that from this video that there were 14 armed groups in that country that controlled 75% of the country.
Wow.
Fighting over meat like beef, and also fighting over religion.
And the women and children suffer in those fights too.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
They suffer because all of that is happening around them, right? They suffer because a lot of them probably lose their husbands and their brothers and their sons, the strength of the family that can go out and make that money easier than they can. And they have no recourse. There's nothing that they can do about it.
Right. And their protection's gone, because once they take the man out the house, then the woman she's open, you know. And the girls.
Yes.
Yeah. And the sons. I read this book years ago. I think it was called Child Soldiers. And I think it was, you had mentioned it earlier about how they kidnap the boys and then make them, fight, train them to fight. That's what this was about. I think it was Sudan too. I think it was the Sudanese war, because that's been going on for a long time. It was very sad. It had a good ending too, because I mean, we don't know it, but in this story, which was based off of a true story, because I think the kid actually wrote this book. America has like different organizations that are like in these pockets, that if you can get to them in these different pockets, they can try to help you out of it. And that's how he got saved. But you have to find, like this man was in this video, right? Like there's help in different places there, not everywhere, but I don't know. I want to call them the Red Cross, but not really the Red Cross, but kind of like the Red Cross. You know what I mean?
Well, being that you just brought that up, let's go into the next video really quick, because that touches a little bit on what you were mentioning with grooming youngins to be rebels.
Ugh.
Adjunct is one of tens of thousands of people abducted by the Lord's Resistance Army, or LRA, which forced its victims to carry out horrific violence and become recruiters themselves. In the 1980s, she helped abduct a young boy named Dominic Ongwen. Ongwen quickly rose up the ranks to become a commander. The atrocities committed by Ongwen and others in the LRA gained international attention, mostly thanks to an American documentary that came out decades later.
Our goal is to change the conversation of our culture.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see?
Yeah. Yep.
You got to know that older lady must be going through some severe regret. But who's to know that she had a choice?
Right.
It was either her life
Yeah.
or his
Right. Or her family,
or her
because
family.
she's older, so I'm sure she had a family. Oh my gosh.
And again, another heartbreaking situation to hear that that's exactly what's going on, and it's been going on for decades. So
Right.
they're kidnapping young boys and grooming them and raising them to become devils.
Yeah. Yep. Awful. Did you hear there was one? I'm always going off, but I forgot what tribe, what country in Africa, but it was during the AIDS epidemic when this tribe thought that if they had sex with a virgin, that it would cure the AIDS.
I heard of
Remember
that.
that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And
Is
like
that-
I remember hearing it thinking like that's not no one is doing that, but it was
Yes, it was
yeah,
true.
yeah,
And
yeah.
instead, what they did was they spread the disease.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Lack of education too. A
Lack
lot of that's like
of
just
education.
don't have. Yeah.
Because I mean, I would just be like, that is just the dumbest thing I have ever heard. The
Right.
dumbest thing. Okay, how are you going to take someone who's defiled and sick and mate them with a pure, clean, and innocent person and say that pure and innocence is going to take away their death and defilement? That is just so dumb, stupid, unintelligent. I mean, I can come up with 1,000 different adjectives,
Yeah.
but people actually believed that.
Yeah. Especially if you're, you're not, you're still in the bush, right? Like you have no electricity. You don't, how would you know? You're not,
And in the twinkling of an eye, those poor girls' lives were changed
right.
forever.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Our time has got away from us, so
Gosh.
we're going to leave. We're going to talk about the different diseases in the next part of the show. I'm very grateful, Lana, that you joined me today to give me your take and your opinion on some of the issues. I'm also happy that you brought up the issues some of the same issues that we are facing here too. Even though the topic is on Africa, as I'm asking American citizens not to forget their fellow African brothers and sisters. You brung out asking our fellow Americans not to forget our fellow Americans.
Right. Yeah.
And I thank you for that, for bringing that out. We will have a discussion on that too, because for us, it is equally important. I mean, it's happening all around us on our own
Yeah.
soil. And so if we can send $20, $30 to another continent to help them out, then we should be able to help our own people out. And it doesn't always have to be with money, right?
Right.
It can
Right.
be with protest. It can be with speaking up for one another. It could be voting, right? Voting for the
Yeah.
right person
Yeah.
or people, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm so glad you did the show. Like, thank you so much for having me. Like, this was something very important. Not too many podcasters are doing a show, about trials and tribulations of Africa. It's just kind of like a forgotten, just
Yeah.
forget about Africa. It's like Haiti, right? Like, people just kind of like,
Yeah. You keep bringing up things that at the end of the show, I'm going to be writing down. All right.
yeah, Haiti needs a conversation
Show
too
is
because
we're gonna have a show on Haiti.
hey,
Yeah.
we owe Haiti a lot, and people do not know how Haiti fought to not be enslaved. And that is, they're being punished right now. And that's why Haiti is Haiti, because, but that's another story.
That's another story, but it's a great one as well. And I assure you, we're gonna talk about that too. We're not gonna be done on the Esteban Hour until we've discussed every country's issue, and
Except in
maybe
Europe. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Europe.
and maybe a couple of times over. Again, thank you, Miss Lana Quest from the Lana Quest Show. Would you care to share your handle with our audience? If anyone has any comments or questions that they'd like to pose to Miss Quest,
Sure.
this is where you can reach her.
Yeah, let's see. YouTube, The Quest Show. You can go there. My show is on Thursdays. Gotta get Esteban on, but I am so wishy-washy. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I just am.
No worries.
Twitter at LQ Lana. You don't want to see me on Facebook. I don't do nothing over there.
Hey, I'm a
No,
Facebook guy.
I don't know. I don't do anything over there. Y'all, I'm sure Esteban does it all. I'm just not I just don't. It's too much. It's too much. I get overwhelmed with a lot. Yeah.
It does.
But I do appreciate you. This was great. I had a fun time.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being the guest, and you are welcome back at any time.
Yay!
So, we're glad that you joined in with us, and we hope that you learned a little something today, even if it was just a little food for thought, to come to an understanding or at least not forgetting humanity. Okay, humanity matters all around the world. There are ups and downs, good and bad, right and wrongs that are being done throughout the world. And today we decided to focus on Africa and a little bit on the United States because we're here. And so we see some of these same issues as Lana brought out face to face. We probably even know somebody who's actually going through hunger, no food, or maybe homeless, or who has problems with their bills and their light and their phone and things of that sort. So I hope that you took this last hour to reflect on those type of people and those situations, and always be willing to do for someone else. Always be willing to share and be generous, and find out what you can do for your fellow man. Sharing is caring, as they always say. And with that, I will say, please follow, like, and share the live. It is always greatly appreciated. So, as we always say, if you had an achievement or a goal that you've accomplished today, don't forget to say to yourself, this